Chat with Henry VIII a few minutes ago is what they're calling him now, the president's cousin in Ireland, and he spent time in the pub with him yesterday. And what a nice fellow who is now got rock star status in the Emerald Isle. We talked yesterday, we did with Nolan Finley about his column in Sunday's Detroit News about why it seems like the Republicans are having so much trouble recruiting a viable candidate to challenge Senator Debbie Stabenow in the 2012 re-election bid. Her approval marks are weak, he notes in the column. Well, all the challenger needs to do is have enough statewide name recognition to counter the 2 terms of incumbency, the free marketing, and oh, by the way, toe-to-toe, 18 hours a day, relentless campaigner who has 3 decades of experience in winning elections. And then let's talk about the money. Over $15 million in the next 18 months, and suddenly you see perhaps why some people have said, don't think so. The Oakland County Sheriff Mike Bouchard, who has run for the Republican nomination for governor, he's also run for United States Senate, is on the other end of our line this morning. Good morning to you.
Morning, how are you?
Good. I thought that it was quite hilarious what you told Nolan Finley in this article about why you decided not to go up against Senator Stabenow again. And the quote was, "I'd end up in a shallow grave in the backyard if I told my wife I was running."
yeah. One of the things about a long marriage is you learn when not to push something.
The funny part about it is you have actually, you sort of like built up a very good name recognition statewide. You have a reputation. You have a sense of humor. You've never wavered from your, conservative principles, and you have a law enforcement background. If I was drawing up a candidate, I might draw up you.
Well, I appreciate it, and I do agree that she's vulnerable. I served with Debbie in the state senate. She's always been a nice person. But what we need really is an effective person that will get things done in a dramatic way for Michigan and for the country. I mean, we're going in a very bad direction. We're spending money that our future grandkids don't have, and it has to stop. And, after 12-plus years in the United States Congress, the only meaningful legislation, and I use that term very lightly, sponsored has been to rename 2 federal buildings. I mean, it's really time to get somebody that can take an idea of a very big problem in Michigan or the country, put it into a bill, and pass it into law on their own, not, just tack on amendments here and there and be kind of a passenger on the bus. We need somebody to drive change for Michigan, and we don't have it.
You have said also in this article that usually by the Mackinac Policy Conference, you've got to have the candidates in and ready to go, and that's going to be in about 8 days from right now. We'll be broadcasting live from Grand Hotel again, but I don't know of any rock star candidate that's going to surface between now and then. Do you?
We're drafting you.
That's what Mike Rogers said. Pitifully below the amount of money even to file the paperwork.
When I said the Mackinac Conference, there's a biannual Republican conference. That's usually, historically been the deadline, which is in September.
Oh, you're talking about the Republican Leadership Conference.
Exactly.
Okay, so there's still time then for somebody to be drafted or to, throw their helmet into the ring?
Absolutely. And it also, the timelines are variable depending on your status. And what I mean by that is if you're a self-funder, you don't have to have as long a run up the hill because you're not raising all the money independently, person to person. If you can write a check, like some people can and have in the past, that timeline changes dramatically. If you remember a person that sits in an office not too far from where you are, no one knew him at all, and, he was able to write some pretty big checks and start with a Super Bowl ad, and suddenly people know who you are. Mm-hmm. If you're coming from a position where you're not a self-funder, you need a longer run, and you need to be raising money to be able to combat the power of incumbency and the power of the money that comes with that incumbency. I think in 2006, about 90% of our money came from outside of Michigan. So, that's the juggernaut you're against, and that's why I just said that, for somebody that's not a self-funder, you got to get in sooner than later.
And that's what Congressman Rogers said last week. It would be really helpful if somebody got in who had their own money. And, you start looking at some of the possibilities, and they are very low on name recognition, but so was Rick Snyder. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. And the other thing, from my point of view, it's kind of sad, frankly, that so much of this decision for so many people comes down to money. You know, we've got a lot of quality, capable, dedicated people out there that probably would make a big difference in a lot of levels of government, and they just looked at it and said, I don't want to be on the money-raising train. And that is, I think, the worst part of politics. You know, I love meeting people. I love fighting for issues and the conservative principles of smaller, leaner government, but I hate asking people for money, but you have to do it, and that some people just can't.
I'm one of those. I can't even ask for money that I'm owed. I don't know why. It's a strange thing. It really
Can I
is.
borrow $20?
Yeah, well, of course. Of course. Here it is. And I'll never
Then
come
I'll
looking.
never have to pay it back.
I'll never come looking for it. You know, this is how it is. And I feel your pain in that regard. So you're content right now, Oakland County Sheriff, and that's a busy enough job. I know you take that very seriously, and there are lots of challenges that we don't even know about in a job like the one you have, some of the things that you keep close to the vest at night. So the bulletproof vest, in fact, and we appreciate
Exactly.
well,
Yeah, I
travel.
love that job. I mean, I've always loved the job. When I was seeking the other jobs, it wasn't because I didn't love what I was doing, and that was the beauty of it from my point of view. But I thought I could help and make a difference in other roles. But I've never been dissatisfied or anxious to leave in any stretch. I love what I do and always have.
It's a good life there indeed, and we will see you soon. And thanks for the chat this morning.
Hey, my pleasure. You have a wonderful day. And draft Michael Patrick, 212. That's my new motto.
Dear God, save us all. Mike Bouchard, the Oakland County Sheriff. I wouldn't know what to do if I were United States Senator. I know I'd get a good table at the Palm in Washington, D.C. That would be job number one. Oh, and let's see, I'd need a private plane. See, I'm not the kind of guy you want in there. Know what I mean? Back in a flash.